Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start, but now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Unconventional Danger. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
In the early morning hours of December 7th, 2014, hundreds of conventioneers were getting ready for the next day's event at the Rosemont, Illinois Hyatt, until panic struck. A noxious gas had filled the hallways of the hotel, and attendees fled the structure in a panic. As the chemicals filled the hallways of the Hyatt, guests' eyes burned. They couldn't breathe. They wondered if this would be their last day on Earth. Even stranger was that these guests were furries, and they were all at Midwest FurFest, the second largest furry convention in the country, attended by thousands, and this particular incident still talked about in furry circles all over the world. Today on Ghost Town, the mysterious 2014 attack at Midwest FurFest. Around 12:30 a.m., convention attendee Phaedra Lewis was in her pajamas and getting ready for bed when she heard a fire alarm and ignored it, thinking that someone tripped the alarm, maybe smoking a cigarette in one of the other rooms. After all, it was late at night. People were on vacation with old furry friends, partying and visiting each other. That is, until she was told to evacuate immediately. With no time to grab a jacket, she ran into the nearest stairwell, and that's when the smell hit her. Quote, "It smelled for all the world like the worst pool shock you've ever been around," she says, referring to a type of pool cleaning chemical. Quote, "Like it was eye-stingingly bad, even outside the hotel." As attendees gathered outside the hotel in pajamas and giant furry costumes alike, Rosemont police and fire departments rushed to the scene, along with reporters, hazardous materials technicians, and later detectives from FBI Chicago's Counterterrorism and Weapons of Mass Destruction unit. Many people were also rushed out by stretcher, unable to breathe, blinded, and sick. Those 19 people were taken directly to the hospital for help and for examination. Phaedra realized that her nose didn't lie. Police told the confused crowd that the intense fumes they'd been smelling inside were the result of a chlorine attack, the type of chlorine used in swimming pools. A note, something I learned while researching this episode, what people don't often consider is that chlorine can be extremely toxic when leaked into the atmosphere, causing respiratory problems and eye irritations in its airborne state. People don't mistakenly leak chlorine into the atmosphere. This act, law enforcement reasoned, is almost always premeditated. Minutes after the evacuation, TV stations were all over this case, taking photos of furries as authorities ushered them to a safe shelter in a nearby convention center that was, ironically, hosting a dog show that weekend. As reports hit TV screens and the internet, the chlorine attack was soon overshadowed by the FurFest itself and the strangeness of the whole situation. What was this event? And who were these people? The answer was fairly public, if unusual. Midwest FurFest had been happening since 2000, and soon became the second largest furry convention in the country. Bringing together more than 4,000 furries from all over the world, Midwest FurFest guests roleplay as anthropomorphic animals, socializing, attending talks, and buying products, often dressed in intricate and expensive head-to-toe costumes during all of it. According to The Guardian, quote, "They said they come for fun, but also for the spiritual and artistic aspects of the convention, during which they celebrate animal characters from movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, and characters they create themselves. Anthrocon conventions typically draw thousands of participants from around the world, many dressed in costumes that they say cost as much as $3,000. It was an added dimension of confusion to think that someone had attacked this specific, very niche happening in a small town in Illinois. Many say that reporting on this occurrence was their first public introduction to the word furry, and certainly the community, by extension, the convention itself. The Rosemont Police Department immediately began investigating, trying to find the origin of the chlorine gas, and using the direction of the hotel guests as a guide. Even still, they didn't know quite what they were in for. Says a first responder, quote, "It was at night during the convention. Many of them had had a few drinks, so our medical team just assumed, oh, well, somebody spilled something on the stairs. Maybe a maid did it or something. It was only fairly late in the evening that it became really clear. Somebody had done something deliberately." How did they conclude this? Well, first responders and firefighters used a chlorine meter to lead them beyond the first 3 floors of the Hyatt Regency, the ballrooms and meeting halls where the Midwest FurFest panels, dances, and exhibits were scheduled to take place, to the source of the noxious odor, the 9th floor. After initially entering the building, the meter recorded a gas level of 1.4 parts per million. To give you some context, according to the National Center of Biotechnology Information, that's about the rate that humans start to experience mild bodily irritation from noxious gases, typically only being able to tolerate exposure at that level for like an hour. But by the time the firefighters arrived on the 9th floor, in the stairwell's west wing, the gas level had skyrocketed to 60 parts per million, double the rate at which people exposed to it immediately start to feel chest pain and shortness of breath, and probably higher, but the read exceeded the meter's maximum number, so we won't ever know how saturated the chlorine had gotten. If encountering that intense chlorine level without any protection, as thankfully first responders and firefighters did, they had protection, without protection, people would be at risk of contracting toxic pneumonitis or acute pulmonary edema, which can develop into a gnarly respiratory disease. Firefighters then spotted something in the stairwell landing between the 9th and 10th floors, a white powdery substance surrounding a broken mason jar, and colorful liquid on the walls. According to a description in Vice, quote, "The firefighters then retreated from the stairwell and requested backup assistance once they noticed a yellow and green liquid running down the walls. When the hazmat technicians arrived, they swabbed 8 samples, both of the wet liquid and the dry powder, from 4 different stain patterns on the walls and the landing of the stairwell. The samples were then packed in absorbent pads in a steel drum." Midwest FurFest sent out a series of tweets throughout the evacuation to keep attendees informed of what was going on, but stressed how little that was known. Of course, rumors quickly circulated about who was behind this and why. Quote, "Twitter was just like blown up for the entire night with people at the convention," recalls Tommy Bruce, a Maryland-based photographer who attended Midwest FurFest in 2014 and has been documenting furry conventions ever since. "It was interesting to be a part of that experience within the furry community, where there's a sort of internet megaphone, like system throughout the whole community, throughout the whole chlorine incident, and there's so much ability to communicate ideas rapidly." According to Vice, quote, "Photos Bruce captured the night of the evacuation, all tinted red and blue from the flashing lights of nearby cop cars, depicted scenes of chaos, panic, compassion, friendship, and then boredom, as crowds waited in the convention center across the street for hours before they could enter the hotel again. In one image, a person dressed as what appears to be a large black and white skunk wraps white fuzzy mittens around a friend's shoulders. The friend cradles his mascot-like lion head under his arms. In another photo, a shirtless man wearing a bear head and leather harness strapped around his chest. In another photo, a shirtless man wearing a bear head and a leather harness strapped around his chest raises a fist to the sky as if in protest, or joy, or maybe rage. But not every scene was quite as pleasant. One image shows a woman on a gurney being wheeled into the back of an ambulance. Another shows a man gasping for breath as he clings to someone in a white fur suit for support. Theories around this event were as abundant as fursuits. We'll talk about them and the repercussions of this strange and dangerous event after the break.
Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start, but now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Hello.
How's it going?
How's it going out there, everybody?
Okay. Calm down.
I'll be calm.
Now I'm talking to the people.
Oh, they won't be calm.
We want to say hello to anyone who's listening, supporting us, spreading the good word of Ghost Town. We want to get right into the government, right into the mayors.
Let's do it.
You know, our mayors ran conventions of their own.
Do
Did
they?
You know that? Oh, yeah.
Do they?
Little known, but important.
Okay, I can't wait to hear.
This mayor had a convention that dabbled in, and listen, this is a flash in the pan. It had its time. It had its moment. They had a fidget spinner convention.
Wow.
Remember fidget spinners?
I do.
Just and the thing is that they had, you know, different kinds, different brands, like branding and stuff
an
like
array.
that.
Cool.
Right?
Big ones, little ones.
And there'd be
colors.
competitions, but like I don't know what the it's just like how much
Yeah.
can you spin it?
How much can you fidget
Yeah.
or not fidget?
But they were really chill because it was like very calming, so it was really
cool.
good. Didn't last very long. Really was just that 1 year in and out.
A healing year.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, who was at the helm? Marissa Rothermel.
Hello.
This mayor had a pretty niche convention. It was Slimer based from Ghostbusters.
Just
You know,
Slimer.
Just
Oops, all Slimers.
Slimer merch, Slimer fan fiction.
You only drink Ecto Coolers. That is it.
The Slimer girls came out.
Oh,
Routine.
wow! They booked the Slimer Girls. This is a
Got the
freaking big
Slimer
deal.
girls. Yeah,
This is
it was a
big deal.
pretty big deal. Yeah, it was great. Very Slimer based. A lot of slime. Messy. It was messy. Had to
Yeah,
spend
that's
had to
important,
spend
though.
a bit to clean it up.
Yeah, maintenance on that is a high price, but that's why you pay a lot for a convention like that.
Well, who was heading that one up? That was Matthew Clemens LeRae.
Hello.
This mayor had a convention for swords. A convention for swords. What was the insurance on that? It was a lot. There's a lot of swords. It was very dangerous. And they had a metal detector. Thing was going off all friggin'
Wow,
day.
that's such a pain. Such a pain.
It was just so many swords. And then you thought, I hope aren't people coming to this convention that are just here to cause they're not like a swordsman, like a swordsmith, like a swordster. You like a swordster?
Swordster, bro?
Yeah, you swordster.
You swordster?
But I'll tell you who's there. The swordster girls. They were dancing. They keep switching.
They got him.
They got him.
That's what
They're
I-
like, listen,
they just put on silver. They put on
we'll
green.
show up to anything.
Green to silver, baby.
Well, who was helming that danger? Casey Weber.
Hello.
This mayor did something a little safer.
Oh.
A little. It was a T-shirt gun
Convention.
What do you think? You think they're not out there just workshop? Like, you think they just
they're
show
like,
up?
oh, the newest models.
Yes.
Let's see, like they're all doing physics with the t-shirt
Different
velocity,
weights
and
of
speeds.
shirts.
Yeah, you got to discuss that in a
Yeah.
group of other like-minded t-shirt gun people.
They rolled out the T-shirt Canon 4000.
Whoa. I thought that was just a myth.
Which did cause a little bit of chaos because it
It killed a t-shirt girl?
nearly.
Open bar, though.
And you know who also came out? The Slimer girls shot.
They actually bought tickets to the convention, or they were
No, they were
working there?
hired.
Okay.
They're like, we'll get the Slimer girls. They're like 30% off.
That's great. They must be tired. These girls are really tired.
There's only 3 of them.
Oh, boy.
There's a 4th one, but it's kind of like Destiny's Child. I don't want to get into it.
Don't get into it.
Well, that's Kelly Meehan.
Hello.
This mayor had a serious convention. Invisible art. Just invisible art.
Wow, art that
which
you
does
can't
exist.
see.
There,
Really?
I don't know if we ever did the episode on where there was like an invisible art thing that they
No.
auctioned. Yeah,
Is that like air guitar?
it's not like that because air guitar is air. This is just invisible.
Okay.
The
This
guitar
is
isn't invisible.
Yeah,
It's air.
It's air.
This
Okay.
is. They don't
I
like
want
it.
to apologize
Let me
to
tell you
this
something.
community.
They do not like you coming in.
I want to
as
apologize
kind of
formally
like
to
some,
this
you know,
community.
yeah,
I'm ignorant.
as a tourist coming through here.
yeah,
No, it's
fuck
invisible
me.
art. There was a lot of risque invisible art.
Whoa.
And let me tell you something. People were like, I don't know about this, but you know who didn't give a hoot?
Who?
Who didn't give a darn?
Who didn't hoot?
The one and only Cat Joselle.
Hello.
Somebody's out there going, I'm also Cat Joselle. There's 94 of us listening right now. Why is this the one and only? This one didn't last long. It did not. It was great. It didn't last long. It was a sourdough bread convention.
Oh, pandemic high.
You want to show up with a rye? Get out.
Get the
They had bouncers. They spent
fuck
more on
out.
security.
Yeah, this is a volatile convention.
You know what I mean? You want marble rye?
Get out of my face.
Pumpernickel?
Leave. Die.
What do you think this is?
You know what this is. Don't
It's
push it.
sourdough or nothing. The latest doughs, the latest machines,
Mm-hmm.
the latest attitudes. Because it has a lot of attitude.
That has a lot of attitude.
Sold product like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Cashed in, cashed out.
Wow, amazing.
Made a lot of money. And people
I
were
like
just sitting
that.
there with a lot of sourdough bread makers
Just getting dust.
collecting dust.
Collecting
And they're just going out and buying the other breads anyway.
Yeah. God, what
Well.
a cycle. What a cycle.
Well, you could thank for that cycle, Ashley Matson.
Hello.
And then our governor. You're going to be surprised to find out they had a little convention of their own.
What?
Planet Earth. All of us in it every single
We
day.
all just buy
We're
tickets.
just one
We're all
convention.
We're all one attendee at the big convention of our fucking planet.
And I feel like you're saying this, this is hyperbole. I don't think so.
I just
I
bought
look at our
merch.
governor's Instagram stories. It's right there in front of us. If you're like, wow, there's unanswered questions, I bet our governor has the inside
Absolutely.
track.
She's
of
the
what-
keynote speaker, and you know you can't get a good seat.
No. No,
she'll
no.
grace herself for the one VIP event, but that is it.
I don't know. We know because I saw it. There's an Instagram story. I'm not going to say what it is of her garage. And I was like, what is... I want to know, but I don't want to know. You know what I mean?
A little mystery.
I like a little mystery.
mystery.
I like a little mystery, a lot
I
of
love
mystery.
her. What would we do without her?
I don't know. It's like
I don't
kind
want
of
to think
like-
about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't turn on her.
No.
No.
We're not going to turn on her. Are we
Can
kidding me?
never.
She owns us.
Yeah, I know,
She fucking
exactly.
owns us.
I
She
was like,
wants
she
us
got-
to read something. If she sent us an email and they're like, she'd be like, hey, Ghost Town, you're going to read this.
Yeah, it's
We'd be like,
extremely
yeah.
hateful. Read it.
Okay.
We have to read
We'll
it.
do it.
She never cashes in on any of that.
No.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Well, that would be our governor,
Avian
Avian
Noble.
Noble. No ads, no chit chat, bonus episodes, just the good stuff. 7 days free. Got a bonus episode coming out. It's one of those ones where I read and I was like, I gotta read this again. 'Cause this should be a movie. It's one of this should be a movie ones. So, bonus episode should be out very soon. Patreon.com/GhostTownPod. Now you want to go back to another very dangerous convention.
Let's get back there. When noxious chlorine fumes erupted in a Hyatt on December 7th, 2014, the hotel guests, mostly FurFest conventioneers, ran for their lives. But the prevailing question was, who would do such a thing? How did it happen? And as the furries waited to re-enter the hotel, theories abounded. Some of the early theories were that chlorine had leaked from a hotel swimming pool or a storage area, or that maybe a ceiling pipe or an air conditioner had sprung a leak, spewing dangerous chemicals out into the hotel. But the Hyatt Regency didn't have a swimming pool, and chlorine wasn't usually found in pipes anyway. Also, what was the deal with the mason jar? Other theories included that maybe things got out of hand during a domestic dispute, a kid's science experiment had exploded, or that a hotel guest had decided to clean work equipment with chlorine products, and that cleaning did not go well. Meanwhile, the guests of the hotel were either at the hospital or at the nearby Donald E. Stevens Convention Center, and social media began not only broadcasting vague updates, but trying to connect those who had been separated during the evacuation. Quote, people were holding their cell phones up in the air in the convention center and taking panoramic pictures and then posting them to Twitter so that you could make sure your friends were okay, remembers Phaedra Lewis. I'd imagine it was a strange scene, furries and normies alike, many still pretty buzzed or chemically altered from the night's events, with red eyes, stinking of chlorine, trying to figure out what the hell just happened to them. Unfortunately, the tests taken from the chlorine meter turned up inconclusive due to a faulty instrument, according to police reports, so they failed to detect whether substances other than chlorine were present, or how much chlorine there actually was overall. Still, the Rosemont police forged forward. Officers interviewed at least 30 hotel guests, more than 19 hotel employees, hospital workers, taxi drivers, and staff employed at local pool and hardware supply stores that sell chlorine. While officers investigated the whereabouts of several individuals, I couldn't find any names of definitive suspects at that time. Law enforcement's conclusion? That the attack was most likely an intentional act of crime against the furry fandom. Guests went back to the hotel hours later, and the weekend did limp along despite this incident. The 19 hospitalized eventually were discharged, more shaken at that point than ill. At the end of the weekend, Midwest FurFest finally issued an official statement. Quote, the furry community has been exceptionally supportive of our convention in the wake of this criminal act, and our resilient staff and remarkably understanding and sympathetic attendees helped us finish the weekend on many positive notes. But eventually the case hit a standstill. Even after the FBI got involved and 12 months of active investigation, no charges were filed and neither the FBI or the Rosemont PD had made an arrest. According to the Rosemont Police Department, the case was closed on July 29, 2015, months before Midwest FurFest 2015 would start and take place without incident. Still, the source of this mysterious chlorine gas that sickened 19 people and put furries into the public eye remains a mystery. Convention attendees still reminisce about that cold night, what it meant, and what it means for their community. Ken Smith, whose fursona, a term widely used to describe a furry's persona, is a leopard-fox hybrid named Malcontent, an avid convention-goer who, even though he didn't go to Midwest FurFest in 2014, is still haunted by the event. Smith worries that the stigmas associated with the furry community may have made threats against them feel less serious. Quote, that's a big problem with things like this. Because furries have been so ridiculed and so misrepresented, a lot of us don't want to speak up about something affecting the furry community. Samuel Conway, a North Carolina-based scientist and researcher who also chairs Pittsburgh Anthrocon, the world's largest furry convention, doesn't believe furries should be fearing for their lives at all. According to Vice, he says that all the hype surrounding the chlorine incident at Midwest FurFest was just that. Hype. Quote, was it a nasty event? Yes, it was. Did people get injured? Yes, they did. But the news media kind of painted this picture, like they had the world thinking that there were probably 50 Al-Qaeda agents descending on the hotel with grenades or something like that. But there's no worldwide anti-furry conspiracy, stresses Conway. The mentality out there that some people have is if they don't understand something, they immediately want to mock it. Okay, if that makes them happy, swell. Whatever. Knock yourselves out. Smith also adds that he hopes they find out who planted the chlorine bomb, that he's scared of what this event signals to those intolerant of his community. Quote, I really hope that a lead really comes up with what happened in Chicago, because it looks like somebody got away with something that was marginally successful, and the next person with a motive can learn how to be more successful. And that worries me. Theories and information tidbits on Reddit still abound, especially from within the community. I'm going to read you some right now. From Zog Muffin, an old coworker of mine was there. They said that on the day of the incident, someone threw a bunch of dollar bills out into the hotel from a balcony during the fursuit parade. They all had, quote, "Leave MFF 2014 written on them. Very weird." Unleash the Ducks says, "I think the most likely suspect isn't an edgelord 4chaner, but a former member of the community with a grudge. Although, as we've seen lately, terrorism from intolerance is possible. That much anger usually comes from a real or perceived relationship." From Tiger Fairy, "I was a local and active on Tumblr then, and I remember people in the community saying that it was someone who'd been banned for shitty behavior / being a wirabu, not sure what that means, sneaking back in to get revenge. Then it fizzled out, so I always assumed they'd been caught. I remember how lucky it was that no one died, and also people being nervous the next year." From Kiwi Ballism, "I went to MFF this year for a day since a handmade plush artist I follow online is there. There were some random Trumpers protesting, apparently, but I didn't see them. It wouldn't surprise me if this was based on hating LGBTQ+ individuals, since they make up a large part of the furry community, and it's more acceptable to hate people for their hobbies, no matter how weird, than their identity, which would otherwise qualify as a hate crime if caught and could have a harsher punishment. As you can hear, these conventions are safe havens, ones that prevail because, well, they have to. Despite elements and instances that feel unsafe, furry conventions are designed and exist as establishments for solidarity, diversity, and self-expression. Quote, "Everyone is from a different background," says Michael Lynch, a 25-year-old computer technician from Madison, Wisconsin. "Nobody judges anybody. It's nice to come to a place like that." If you want to hear more, the 6-part investigative podcast Fur and Loathing is an excellent deep dive into this story and can be found wherever you listen to podcasts.
Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start, but now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Five Below means hot stuff, cool prices, and the best kind of fun anywhere. The trends you see all over your feed can be yours for way less than the rest. Like can't keep in stock candy and snacks, brand name beauty, the latest tech, room decor, and lots more. Plus, get extreme value finds you just have to see to believe in our 5 Beyond shop. Yep, you could say we're kind of a big deal here. Shop over 1,600 stores nationwide and 5below.com.
Start your summer road trip at Midas and get up to $30 off your next repair service. Plus, get a free closer look vehicle check to make sure you're road trip ready. If you need brake service, an alignment check, or tune-up, hit up Midas for up to $30 off. For more details, request your appointment at Midas.com.